The love of money is the root of all evil.
We have a huge opportunity as Indians right now, right? For the next decade or so.
I own gold mines
Okay.
and I own silver mines.
Okay.
So when the dollar crashes, some races aren't that smart. I own 15,000 houses.
15,000
Wow.
houses.
15,000.
Which you give it out for.
You've heard stories of people who are billionaires, but they've gotten bankrupt, right?
And I go to school and all the white kids are rich
Right.
and the Asian kids are poor. I went, now I better find out.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Cashvisory's YouTube channel. I'm Utkarsh, the co-founder, and today we have another very special reaction video for you. Interestingly, this video has 3.4 million views, guys. And this is Finance with Sharan's podcast with none other than Robert Kiyosaki. And Robert Kiyosaki has been someone that was very important to me early on in my life because I read his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that was one of the books that laid the foundation for personal finance for me personally. Right? So he's a great man, a lot of things to learn from this video. But at the same time, how should I put it? There's a lot of information which you should take with a pinch of salt. So I will be decoding everything from a financial advisor's perspective. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
And I kept asking my teachers, when am I going to learn about money? And they gave me this bullshit. The love of money is the root of all evil. I go, stop bullshitting me. But that was their way of preventing me from getting rich.
That's right.
By telling me if I wanted to get rich, I wasn't going to go to heaven. I go, holy mackerel. I'm only 10 years old, I couldn't drink the Kool-Aid. In America, call it the Kool-Aid.
Okay, so I do agree with him partially here. The fact that our schooling system kind of fails us when it comes to personal finance management. It's not something that's taught to us. It very much should be part of our curriculum, I think, right from school days, and 100% should be part of our curriculum in college. So we can do better there. But him saying that teachers are intentionally trying to keep you poor, I think that's a bit of a hyperbole. I think it's more of an ignorance thing, right? They don't know any better. Or you can say it's a systemic issue that the curriculum has not been built with this in mind. Let's move on.
From since the last financial crisis to what we are seeing currently, do you see any changes that's happening in the world order? Do you see a crash coming anytime soon? What are your thoughts on the macro picture of what's happening in the world?
Very good question.
That's a good question.
We're in the biggest change in world history now. Like this is August 2023. It just had the BRICS meeting
Right.
in South Africa. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
Right.
So it is the split between the West and the East. So the West has approximately 1.2 billion people using the dollar.
Right.
Brazil and Russia and China have control of about 3.8 billion. So the fight now is between East and West.
When you mean West,
That is true.
1.2 billion people, is that North America and Europe?
Generally, yeah.
Okay. So that totally is 1.2 billion.
Approximately, yes.
Got it.
The point here is this, the reason I'm happy to be here in India, BRI, India's in the middle,
Right.
China, South Africa. So the problem is your school systems are Marxist. Most school teachers are Marxists.
Can you
They-
explain what Marxist is to
They
the
believe in taxation.
audience? Sorry?
They believe in taxation.
Okay.
I don't pay taxes.
Okay.
Capitalists don't pay taxes.
Right. Right.
Okay. We also use debt,
Right.
and we don't pay for it. We don't do any of those things. This is my friend here, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He's a capitalist.
Right.
People hate this guy, but he is my good friend. We are capitalists. We're not Marxists. Obama, Marxist.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'll just pause it right there because we're getting a bit political and I don't think we're getting into the meat of the answer, right? So in terms of the macroeconomic part, when he initially talked about the fact that the world is at a pretty interesting juncture where we're kind of splitting between, you can say almost a war between China and the US to see who's going to sort of emerge as the winner or the leader of the world order, right? And India is almost serving as the underdog here, right? as an emerging economy, and growing at probably the fastest rate out of all the emerging economies. So we have a huge opportunity as Indians right now, right, for the next decade or so, which is in the midst of this war that's going on between two superpowers. We can sort of sneak in and kind of win the game. So a lot of opportunities without getting too political as he is, and I wouldn't go so far as to call Obama a Marxist or a communist. I think a bit extreme, but let's continue to watch on.
I see us.
Right.
You're in between. So just be careful. Be careful whose money you use, either the dollar or the yuan. So that's why I've been saying it's commodities, silver and gold.
Right.
This today is about $35 US.
Okay.
Okay, that's a lot of money here in India.
$35 or
This is $35 US.
$35?
This is about two.
I think what he didn't answer was it's $35 approximately an ounce, if I'm not wrong. An ounce comes to about 28 grams, price of silver, right?
1,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that real?
No, they're fake.
Okay.
This is real.
Silver.
But anyway, so being a capitalist, I own gold mines
Okay.
and I own silver mines.
Okay.
So when the dollar crashes, I get richer.
Right. And that happens time and time again.
That's going to happen now.
When do you think it will happen?
It's happening right now. America is sliding into a depression right now. How I said, it's Brazil.
So guys, this is the risky part, right? And as retail investors, we need to be a bit conscious of stuff like this. Someone having credibility, someone having a lot of influence, coming and making predictions with a lot of confidence when even they don't know certainly what's going to happen, right? This guy is saying that, oh, I'm so sure the dollar is going to crash and there's going to be mayhem and gold and silver is the only place to be. No one knows that. No one can predict that. So if you just hear that and build your portfolio according to that, you're going to be in trouble, right? What if the dollar doesn't crash and you put all your money in gold and silver? Then you're kind of screwed, right? To put it simply. But I think there is one important takeaway here is that commodities are a good sort of hedge, right? So when I say commodities like precious metals, gold and silver, people go to them when the rest of the assets are in trouble. So when there is a bit of a concern about currency, as he talked about, when stocks are, let's say, not doing that well, then people would go into these assets. So we generally recommend keeping about 5 to 7% of your portfolio in these assets. But just like what he's saying, don't go in and put in 100% of your money there because no one knows what's going to happen, guys. Diversification is the key.
And our Indians.
Oh, is that
Global
right?
companies, yes.
Good. So it's naturally inside your genetics, your race,
Right.
as compared to other races, which I won't say, Some races aren't that smart,
Okay.
which makes me a racist.
Okay.
Japanese aren't that smart.
Really?
No.
I mean, they're the pioneers of robotics. I always thought that they're super smart people. I mean, they look
Pinch of salt, guys. Take everything that he's saying with a pinch of salt.
smart as well. They work ethics, hardworking people. Okay.
Biggest debtor nation, the only country bigger in debt than America is Japan.
Okay.
But the thing is what people are doing is they're playing games with this stuff. Where do you think I borrow my money from?
From the bank.
Japan.
Okay.
Japan are stupid people. They save money.
Right.
I'm an American. I use debt. I borrow their savings.
I heard that the
Although I don't particularly am a fan of the way he said that, but then it is true that a lot of large investors borrow their money from Japan, right? And the reason for this is that because the interest rates in Japan are so low, and there's multiple reasons for that, right? Not just what he's saying. Because the interest rates are so low, you can actually borrow money at very sort of low interest rates from there, and then invest it in markets where you get higher returns, right? So I think this is a very common practice, and we saw this actually manifesting recently when Japan hiked its interest rates. Then a lot of people started panicking and stock markets crashed because they suddenly felt that their borrowing is going to become more expensive. So some truth in what he's saying, but I wouldn't go ahead and call Japanese stupid people, not at all.
So,
Got it.
So I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about buying a home? Because it's very difficult to convince Indians, and I get a lot of lashback when I say that, don't buy a house, delay that purchase, focus on building assets which pay you more money. But people disagree.
I face the same thing because I own 15,000 houses.
15,000 houses.
15,000.
Which you give it out for rent.
Yeah.
Right.
So nothing wrong with buying a house.
Yeah.
Difference is I use debt to buy it.
Okay.
And I pay no taxes. It's not the house. It's not the stock. It's not the bond. It's not the ETF. It's your brains. So I would rather use debt and pay no taxes.
Can you explain that? How do you buy houses without?
Which is capitalism.
Right.
We use debt and we pay no taxes.
So he has 15,000 houses. Good for him. He has a lot of rental income. He also suggests using debt to buy a house, right? But this information on its own is so dangerous, guys, because sure, you can do that, but how do you know whether it's the right time for you to take that debt? How do you know whether this liability is manageable for you, right? So he's not sharing any of those details. If you're a young retail investor, the first thing that we recommend is don't buy a house immediately when you start working, because obviously a property is not an asset that is liquid, so your money gets locked in, right? And plus, you don't want to be stuck with a huge liability such that most of your income is going towards paying that EMI, right? You could delay that purchase. Sure, it could be a great asset for you later in life, but don't do that immediately when you start working. And although leverage or debt can be a good thing, you need to be a bit cautious and know how to use it rather than just doing debt because he's asking us to do debt. It's a bit risky to just put it that way. I'm a bit disappointed with the fact that he's not explaining things properly. He's just using terms like I'm a capitalist, so that's why I do that. But anyways, let's see what happens moving forward.
The three pillars of a happy life is money, health, and relationships. I wanted to ask you, someone who has almost lived 80 years on this planet, how would you rank them?
What?
The three pillars of life: money, health, relationship. How would you rank them in terms of importance for a happy life?
Why do you have to rank them?
So that people know what to prioritize.
They're all important.
But if you had to rank them,
Money.
money first.
If I can handle money, the rest is easy.
Right.
In America, they say no money, no honey.
But what about health?
Huh?
Health.
Health is expensive.
Yeah. So
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. So money comes first, and then health, and then.
If I was to make a choice, if I got the money handled, I'd get the rest handled. But if I'm poor, no money, no honey, no wife, no health.
That's right.
Interesting take, but I do agree with him. I feel like we keep hearing the saying that money can't buy happiness, right? But at the same time, I do feel that money does set you up to be happier, in the sense that if you do have money and resources, you could be in a situation where relatively speaking, you'd be better off than not having that money, right? For example, if you plan your finances well, and if something goes wrong in life, you know that you'll be able to take care of that. You'll be able to manage your risks, and that will not be an additional stressor for you, right? So while it's important for you to not just kick everything else off. Like, you should prioritize your family, you should prioritize your health and your wellness and your well-being. It is important to focus on building wealth as well, right? Because you do get the resources that you need to do everything else that you want to do in life. Money is an enabler, right? That's how I see it. So partially agree with him. Maybe not that extreme, but yeah, do agree that money is pretty important.
Okay. So what is the right, what do I want question, answer to the question?
I wanted to buy a gold mine.
Okay.
Go buy a gold mine. Do you know how to do it?
I don't know how to do that.
Then you better study.
Right.
Find somebody who bought one. I studied for about 10 years how to buy gold mines. I was traveling in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's a show called the VRIC, Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. And I go to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And I studied with all these guys who own gold mines.
Okay.
And I went looking for gold mines. I found one. I found a gold mine this is in 2004. I found a gold mine in Dalian, China. See, I don't think you could do it. I bought it.
It's not that simple. If it's there, I just buy it. It's not that simple. There's a lot of loopholes.
Because I know how to raise capital.
Okay.
I studied how to raise capital. I go to Vancouver. I studied with guys who raise capital. I think you hang out with employees. I don't have...
I love how sort of polarizing he is, but again, take it with a pinch of salt, guys. I think what he's talking about here is building assets or building businesses using debt, right, or leverage, which obviously every business person uses debt, right? But I do want to highlight here that most businesses or most people who have tons of money, right? You've heard stories of people who are billionaires, but they've gotten bankrupt, right? How does that happen? That happens because they over leverage or they take too much debt. So I think while we do promote this or while we do say that it's a good thing to use leverage, you have to be cautious and you have to be careful, right? And obviously, when he's talking about all of this, it has to be debt that's used for productive consumption. That means building an asset. Assets are anything that put more money into your pocket, right? But what's been happening recently is people have been using debt to buy things like iPhones or finance their trips. Now that is completely unhealthy and a complete no-no, right? But if you were to buy a gold mine someday, then you can use leverage, right? Because it doesn't make sense for you to fork out all that capital lump sum.
I'm sitting there looking at this. So what is this? And I go to school, and all the white kids are rich,
right,
and the Asian kids are poor. I went, oh, now I better find out why. I use my brain to think. So today I own silver mines, and I own gold mines, and I own Bitcoin,
and you own real estate,
and I own real estate. I own businesses.
Yeah,
I'm a capitalist.
Okay, so that was interesting, guys, to see how he sort of builds his overall portfolio, right? Even though he stays away from the stock market, his portfolio is diversified, right? In the sense that he's diversified among businesses, precious metals, property. The only sort of drawback to this sort of a portfolio is he has limited liquidity, right? Unless, of course, he has some cash flow business from which he can take out a lot of money, right? That's a different situation. But the key takeaway for all of you guys here is that you should diversify your portfolio, but at the same time, make sure that there are some parts of your portfolio that have liquidity as well, apart from all the things that he is doing, right? Because you do need that cash flow as well. So again, guys, I think this was quite an interesting episode, to say the least. But I don't completely agree with everything that he says, or the confidence with which he says it. So remember, when you see this kind of content on the internet, always take it with a pinch of salt. Someone with a lot of money and resources coming and sharing words of wisdom with a lot of confidence can also be wrong, right? Not everyone knows 100%. So one thing that I do agree with, though, which has been something constantly he's been saying, keep educating yourself, keep learning, so that you're able to go and understand what is bullshit and what is not for yourself, right? Over time, as you educate yourself, that is one foolproof way that you will succeed. You'll be able to see what is good advice, what is bad advice. You'll be able to make sense of it yourself. So we keep doing that with ourselves and with our clients as well. So keep doing that. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to come to us, book a call. The link will be in the bio. And with that, we'll come to the end of this video. If you like it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit from this. Thank you so much. Keep coming back.